Where my girls at? Where my girls at? Independent, free spirit. Ooh, it's something serious. Where my girls at? We ain't linked up in a cool minute. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going down tonight. Yeah, right. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going down tonight. Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's going down tonight. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be here with you. This is 9:10 a.m. The Superstation. This show is We Got Issues. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. I'm so very excited to be with you guys all. This is such a special time. It is a Friday. It's Independence Day. It's the 4th of July. And we're so very excited. So many things are going on. So many things are going on. What a crazy, busy day. I'm having some feedback. I don't know if you guys hear the feedback here, but I'm excited to be with you guys today. We have a fabulous show for you. A fabulous show. I'm so excited. Yesterday, we talked about it all. We talked about it all. And today, today might be full of secrets, full of secrets, full of secrets. Whether you're calling us in, whether you're dialing us in, whether you're on Facebook or StreamYarding with us, I don't know which way you are, but I'm so glad that you're with us. However way, because this is 9:10 a.m. the Superstation, and I'm so glad that we're here with you guys. You guys, we're going to go around and meet the force of friendship. I'm Gloria Mayfield Banks. I'm here in the DMV area, in between DC and Baltimore. It is an absolutely, when I tell you absolutely, it is an absolutely beautiful day here in Baltimore. We had rain for 2 days. I mean, massive rain. But you know what it's like after the rain is beautiful. Then I have all the grandgirls with me, all the grandkids, grandgirls, grandboys, cousins, this cousin, that cousin, this cousin. I think over the weekend we're going to be up to like 15 people. I don't know, a zillion people. It's I know it's a lot. It's just a lot. They're just all coming in. They're flying in. They're driving in. We made arrangements today for some more to come here, so it's real exciting today. Oh my gosh, you guys, how do we fit so much into a day, y'all? How do we fit all that we fit into 24 hours? Because we fit it in, but we got a special guest with us today. But before we see our guest and before we lean into this topic, we're going to go head over to the Big D from Detroit, Michigan. Chris, are you there? Talk to us.
And that was what she did to cope with it. And you really it really hurts your heart, and don't stand in judgment, because, until you walk in somebody's moccasins, you just don't know the pressure, the heartache, and all of that. And I'm probably just so disappointed, because I know that she has trained so hard, overcome so much. She was, the darling. Everybody was looking at her, just knew that she would win. But, life, sometimes, throws us blows. And sometimes, if not for the grace of God, we could all make poor decisions. But I love that she did come out and she did apologize, because, when you are in those kinds of positions, whether you want it or not, you are influencer, and people are watching you. So I do like that she did come out and apologize, and told her truth. And so I'm just praying that in 30 days, they said she won't be able to run the 100 meter, but maybe she may be able to run the 400 meter. So I'm just really keeping her in prayer and believing that a miracle will happen and she will be able to run the 400. But what it is a reminder for all of us is that the decisions that we make always sometimes come with consequences, some good and some bad. So just want to keep her lifted in prayer. And so with that being said, I'm going to throw it to Sabrina Goodwin Monday, who is somewhere in Ohio, I think. Hey, First Lady.
It's a big debate. I was sitting next to Wendy, and she was like, Gloria, the debate is, weed it's legal where she was. It's legal. It's not athletically legal, poor choice, but not illegal. I mean, what a decision at 19. Go ahead, Sabrina, at 19.
Mm.
Wow. Wow, the blast.
Well, I'm just gonna jump in here. Sometimes I'm girlfriend Caterina, and sometimes I'm tech Caterina. So Sabrina has got to unmute on StreamYard. Okay. There you go.
There I am.
And then
that was the feedback. I'm sorry.
But turn down your computer if your computer's on.
Yes, anyone that can hear us, if your computer is on, we got feedback on the radio. Someone's computer is turned up. So that will be great. I am so excited. This is my little necklace today. Okay. But I want some necklace. You cannot show up out of here. Crisette's necklace is so. Anyways, I'm excited to know the secrets. So I'm passing it back to you, Gloria, because I want to know all the secrets. But I'm looking forward to the weekend, and I'm wondering if I'm going to see some real fireworks. I will say just this real quick. I'm kind of glad I'm in California, because when I tell you we live near downtown in Chicago, and it sounds like Beirut on.
Wow.
I have never heard anything like the neighborhood. The fireworks like downtown on Navy Pier are gorgeous. But if you are in the neighborhood in Chicago, OMG. I'm like, I can't be there on 4th of July. It's too much. Oh, was that a firework? Was that a gunshot or was that a firework like for 4 days? So I'm excited to be in California and I hope I get to see some real fireworks safely.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you, the Midwest is known for the fireworks. The Midwest is known for the fireworks. I don't know, Chris. I know the fireworks in Detroit were just like huge fireworks. I mean, huge. Canada used to give us the gift of fireworks, and it was just always in the newspapers across the country. I remember once we were in California, they talked about the fireworks in Detroit. So it has always been huge. I don't know if it's still huge, but huge, huge times. And a lot's going on. You guys, we're getting ready to go into the weekend. We're so celebratory. So I am excited about this guest, and I'm excited about the stories. So you guys, listen, before I bring them in, I am going to invite our callers. Whether you're living in Detroit, whether you're on our international, you got to call in at 313-778-7600 because everybody wants to lean in. Everybody wants to lean in when it's time to talk about the what? The Secret Service, the Secret Service. Let's bring in Ricky. I'm so excited. This is such a good deal. Hey, Ricky, I'm so excited. You guys, meet my friend, Ricky Mason. This is so exciting. You guys, first, let me tell you about Ricky. Okay, so first, I met Ricky through his amazing wife. His amazing wife, Sheena, is a phenomenal friend. And, you know, connections. And then one time, the Force of Friendship had an event. There she is. Hi, Sheena. Sheena, this is your personal invitation to be on the show. Don't even try it. This is your personal invitation to be on the show because she's got a story herself, and I'm bringing her on for sure. But we have such a great connection. And one time, all the Force of Friendship girls, we had this big affair, and they got into the White House. And I got sick, and I could not come to the White House. And so I missed the White House. And it's because of Sheena, who has Ricky, that I finally got into the White House. However, Ricky, oh my gosh. I mean, we've been to each other's houses several times. You're looking at a master cook. You're looking at a master cook. You're looking at a master husband. You're looking at a master father. You're looking at someone with incredible military background. You're looking at somebody who's just brilliant. But most of all, he's just a really great, amazing man, brilliant and tells stories like crazy. But here's the thing. He's been in the Secret Service. And every time I sit there like this, because I just love to know what is going on. In the White House, I've only been in there one time, and it's not just the White House. So, Ricky, before I go into some conversations, just tell them a little bit about your position there and since. Just tell them a little bit about you and your journey.
Well, what's funny, you know, and first of all, I want to say congratulations. Am I muted? Am I muted?
How come I
muted on the phone? He's muted on the
phone. Your phone mute?
Yeah, I'm muted your phone, baby. How about now? Can you hear me now?
There he is. Yes.
Okay, great. All right. First of all, I want to say thank you for this awesome invitation.
Katrina, what are you trying to say, Katrina?
No, it's good. It's good.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead, Ricky.
Yeah. I want to say thank you for this awesome invitation. I'm humbled. I'm always humble when I'm in Gloria's presence. So she is a sister of mine, and I can't tell you how much my wife and I love this family. And between Gloria and Ken, you know, to tell you the truth, they're my mentors. And it's just the epitome of a family matrix. If you could write a book on the picture of a family, that would be it. And that would be the model that I try every day to follow. And just the love for their grandkids and their love for their family and love for their friends and people that love them. So that is hard to do these days because you got so much negativity out there and people just
Does he
not.
Need to turn the volume up, or is it me?
Is it me?
Yeah. Okay, you're good. I think it's better now, right?
Okay. Yes, definitely. But
it's going in and out for some reason, right? Chris, your face is like.
How about now? Yeah.
Oh. Perfect. Yes. Yay, Ricky's there.
my career all I want, but I can't without mentioning my mom, my dad, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins, my family members who have guided me every step of the way and still doing it. Still doing it. And I also have to say that I'm looking at these three beautiful ladies. Pick that back on. Okay. that was crazy.
We're good. We're good with the earpiece. We're good with the earpiece, Sheena, we're good. We don't need the black.
You don't need it. Don't need it. Right.
And we need her StreamYard turned on. The StreamYard on the computer.
The StreamYard turned on the computer, mate.
Okay, now we got it. I think we got it.
Okay. How about now? Okay. Is that better? Okay.
I think so. I don't know why.
It's
okay, there we got
it's
it.
good.
No.
That's perfect. You unmuted. Perfect.
Turn this.
It's all good. Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. Unmute one more time. Unmute on the StreamYard and it will be perfect. We will
There,
unmute it.
perfect.
There you go. Perfect. Just like that. We can hear you good. Thank you.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, so I want to say that I'm very, very proud of you, you ladies as well, and listening to your podcast and listening to it's hilarious. First of all, I love listening to you. Number one. Number two is that my life and time in the Secret Service began long before I made the transition from just leaving out of the military and going in, because that whole time frame started with my mom and my dad, as I was saying earlier, and being disciplined, sticking to God, never ever losing faith. All of that plays a factor in where I am today, and that is with my wife and kids, trying to set that example and be that example for them to follow their path. For my kids to follow their path. And so without much ado, I'll start with the fun stuff, the Secret Service, and first of all, I spent 7.5 years in the military before then. And it's funny, when I think about it, I think about the stories, when you write the script of your life, it shouldn't take a whole page. It should not take a whole page. It should be key points in your life where you made those decisions to do right, hard, and be thorough. Because if you change that right, hard, and thorough, because you think about it, there are no shortcuts. There are no shortcuts to a good ending. You have to be right, meaning that you have to stay on the path of a servant leader. Mm-hmm. That path is being servant to God and being servant to what you believe in your morals and ethics. If we stick to that, the rest is easy. The rest is pretty easy. God's gonna move you around and put you in places and send messengers your way all along the way, and all you have to do is do right.
Hey, Rick,
it may not look right.
Before we go to break at 6:20, what branch of the military were you in for 7 years before you came into the Secret Service?
The Navy. I was in the Navy for 7.5 years. Yeah. The
Navy. Okay, you guys, he was in the Navy for 7.5 years. I hear the break coming on. We're going to go to a brief break. We're at 9:10 a.m. the Superstation. We're so glad that you turned into We Got Issues with the Force of Friendship. And we're here with our guest, Ricky Mason, and we're going to be talking about the Secret Service. When we get back, we're going to be talking about the journey from the Navy to the White House. I'm so excited. Right. So excited, you guys. Call us. We'll see you back here in just a second.
Thank you. I'll do.
I think we got the audio. together, y'all. I think we got the audio.
Hey guys, I'm not sure
Type
if anybody's
in the
doing
chat
Facebook.
if the
I don't
audio
see
was
Katrina
good
is
toward
on
the end. If
screen.
you could
She's
hear Ricky.
behind the scenes right
Got
now,
it.
so I didn't want to leave you guys
Crisette's
hanging
talking.
just in case nobody's talking to you guys. Well, we're so excited about our guest on today. I've always been so curious as to how people become a part of or get hired into the Secret Service. I mean, it's just so, to me, it just seems like there's a lot of mystery behind it. And maybe I've watched too much television, you know, but it just seems like, you know, people that work in the Secret Service, they have to have a certain gift. They have to have a certain kind of mentality, if you please, when you're in the Secret Service. So when I tell you, I'm going to lean into this conversation on today because I am so interested in finding out, you know, how Ricky got involved in the Secret Service, what it takes. And maybe some of you, I know we have a lot of you that are in the military. And so because you're in the military, you know, you may know individuals who are in the Secret Service, and you may even have people that are in the Secret Service. Now, what I have heard, and I don't know, and I'll ask today, is that when you apply for a job like that, they scrutinize everything. They talk to your family members, your cousin, your relatives, your great aunt. I mean, they find out everything. They turn your life inside out to find out if there's anything that they need to know about you. And you know what? You have to be a special individual for them to do that kind of in-depth research into your life and them to come back and say, yeah, you qualify. So I'm excited about this. So put in the chat, you know, your questions so we can make sure they get answered.
Here we go.
Okay.
Oh, yes. We're excited. We're excited. We're excited. We're excited. We're excited to be back talking about the Secret Service. You guys, you hear them, you see them, you know them, but we never know anybody about them. You see it, you never know that you know somebody. You guys, listen to this. The Secret Service employs approximately 3,200 secret agents, 1,300 uniformed division officers, and more than 2,000 other technical, professional, and administrative support personnel. When Ricky took me to the White House and we got a better understanding of the breadth and the depth of the Secret Service, it was just amazing. So Ricky, you were telling us your move from the Navy to the Secret Service. Tell us a little bit about the journey, because people want to hear about that. Then they want to hear about some of the things that happened with you while you were in the Secret Service.
Well, it was funny because, you know, that move to the Secret Service was unintentional. I'll be honest with you. It was unintentional on my behalf. Of course, someone had a bigger plan for me, though. But, you know, that move to the Secret Service happened when I was literally in the Suez Canal. I was in the Navy and I was in the Suez Canal, and we were doing our mission assignments, cruising and protecting other ships. And my captain called me in at the time, and he said, "Hey, I need a favor." And he had this old radio, and I want to talk about this because this is very significant to the transition forward. He had this old radio that had been passed down from his family, generation and generations. The thing never worked, and I was heavily involved in electronics and technology. So he said, "Hey, Ricky, if you get a chance, if nothing else, if you could just take a look at it and just see if it will ever work again." And that night I teetered around with it, and I plugged it in and I repaired it and gave it back to him, and it worked just fine. And he told me that he had that radio for over 30 years. Many people had worked on it, and no one had been able to get a sound out of it. And he was so excited, and we got to know each other. It wasn't no longer than a few months later that he called me back again. and he said, "Hey, I actually have a nomination on my desk, and I've been asked to nominate 2 people for the White House." And you have to keep in mind what that meant to me, because I'm from a very small town. I mean, like, my entire graduation class was 87 people.
What?
Yeah, I know,
What?
right?
What
And
time
that
is
includes
that?
87 people.
That includes the teachers and the administration staff. So maybe down to 40 if you ask the actual people that graduated. So I'm down to 40. It was that small town, right? But a lot of life, a lot of spirit, a lot of good things that happened from that school. Now, I say that for a reason, because when he said that to me, he said, "I have one question for you. They're going to do a thorough background check on you. Is there anything I need to know?" I said, "Well, I have some cousins I probably should tell you about." He said, "No, I don't care about that."
We all got some cousins. We all got some cousins.
But as far as I'm concerned, that was when it dawned on me. You know, I had pretty much lived by my parents' rules. And I really didn't have any problems. I couldn't think of anything I wanted to tell this guy. I said, "No, I think I'm fine." And of course, they ran a thorough background check on me. A few days later, some agents showed up out of nowhere and they called me off the ship and they took me to a hotel, and I was grilled for an entire like 4 or 5 days in a row of nonstop questioning. And what's unique about it, they had already done the background on me.
Right.
Yeah, that's.
So what were they looking for, Ricky? Since you
Oh.
were in a leadership position, what are they looking for? If our listeners are wondering who gets into the Secret Service, what specifically are they looking for?
Character, honesty, trust, resilience. Resilience is like probably the biggest thing. Your composure. Composure is very big on the list. Everything else is academic to them, but those are the character factor is big, because that's something that you should already have. They can't build your character for you. They can only test it. It can only be tested. They can't build it for you. At that point, they've already they've already spent, to my understanding, 6 months speaking to family members. But here's the funny part. Now, here's where my story begins. So they go to my mom, who hadn't seen me in about a year because I was traveling, and they're knocking on her door in a small town in North Carolina. 3 really tall, stout, white agents with dark glasses on, banging on her door, and she opens the door and say, "What did he do?"
Wow.
And the funny part, you wouldn't open the screen door and let them in. So they through the screen door.
No way.
That's funny. That's funny.
That badge didn't mean nothing to her. That badge didn't mean nothing to her.
She couldn't care less about that badge. So, and they told me the story. They thought that was the funniest thing in the world. The fact that she let them right there at the screen door, but that is as far as that conversation would go. And so they had already talked to my teachers in the 2nd grade. It was as far as like as the 2nd grade. If they were still living. Oh yeah, if they're still living. And I did have some concerns about that, because, you know.
Okay, but let me stop you there, Ricky. Let me stop you there. You guys, imagine his mother would not let them in the screen door, and then she's with me, and my mom is with me as we go to the White House that day. Can you imagine his mother didn't let them in, and now her Secret Service son is leading her to areas of the White House that not everybody is privy to.
Right.
I mean, super interesting. Okay, Ricky, tell us about the presidents that you covered and how you covered them.
So, I mean, I'll start with President Ronald Reagan. First of all, I received a letter from the Office of President Ronald Reagan when I was in the military that I was welcoming me to the White House, and that I had actually made the security checks and cuts and went through the entire screening process, and I was in. And what was great, I made the transition from Norfolk, Virginia to Washington, D.C. And now this is where the fun starts. So it's pretty much my first major trip with the president. I went out ahead of him, and we were at a particular location in Helsinki, Finland. And what blew me away was that here I am from this very small town still. I'm still trying to get over that. And I'm with the president and the entire entourage and the Secret Service. And I'm watching this whole thing unfold in front of me. And it was there when I realized that this is the beginning of something great. Something great. So whatever challenges.
What was your job? What was your job? Is your job to survey the space? What is your job when you walk in front of him?
Well, Gloria, then, I was still in the Navy. They pulled me out of my duties in the Navy, and I was with the Secret Service, but I wasn't in the Secret Service. I was there to provide communications for the president. If he had to make a call or talk to anyone outside of that location, I was going to make that happen. So I was there for the president. That only happened for like maybe a year and a half, and then I transitioned into the Secret Service. They brought me directly over because somewhat of the same background checks went right into the Secret Service. And it was then also that I had a very unique trip when President Mandela came out of bondage, his prison. He came to the United States, and I was given my first major assignment to be with his entourage and protect that entourage throughout his stay. And that was incredible as well, because that was under President George Bush as well. And so that was one of the highlights of my life. I mean, to be able to protect Nelson Mandela and to listen to him speak wherever he's going. And that to me was incredible. And I'll fast forward a little and then come back to you. But that particular assignment was the beginning of my career. And when I retired, Gloria, the day that you and I retired, remember I just came back from President Mandela's funeral. And I retired immediately returning from his funeral. So I did the beginning of him coming to the United States and when he passed away. But here's the unique thing about the Secret Service. The leadership is incredible. Incredible leadership, great people. They remembered that I did the first assignment with Nelson Mandela, and they called me and said, hey, do you want to do the funeral? Listen, do you want to cover his funeral? And I was blessed enough to go out there and cover his funeral, which is one of the most an incredible.
You have to tell the details of that story.
That was just hilarious.
Because the double plane, tell the stories, Ricky.
Okay, I'll tell you. It was the same trip where the quote unquote sign language expert was there trying to interpret President Obama's speech. So it was that same trip. And what's unique about that is that the Secret Service had nothing to do with this guy. He was a part of that president's entourage. But they, of course they thought that it was all our fault, whatever, but and so what's unique about that entire story is that being there and covering 126 to 130 other presidents coming in all at once, and to see the presence of the United States, which was unique, showing up in fashion, because you have to understand, every country was there. Every president of every country was there. President Obama shows up, and he's like a rock star. There is no doubt about it. This is bigger than you can ever think. 100,000 people, bigger, just big. And upon his arrival, the process that they brought him in was the first motorcade that came in, doors open, who gets out is President Jimmy Carter first, which is surprising about it. No one knew that they were coming. The next motorcade came. President George Bush Sr. Then the next motorcade that came.
Yes, I'm here. Do I hang
President
up?
Bill Clinton. Then the next one that came. President Bush. Then the next one that came.
Wow.
President Obama
Wow.
shows up. So it was just one
Wow.
after the other. So that was pretty cool to see. And the media was just eating off, just falling all over. And to bring him in and just listen to that powerful speech that he gave, and we're able to get him out of there and take him home safe. That entire event we did within 36 hours from the time that we were told that it was going to happen, and on time. And 33 of those hours, 30 of those hours was traveling. We traveled.
Wow.
We traveled for 30 hours, and then we were working that 6 hours, and then we flew back again. So, I say this because the magnitude of being in that spotlight with them is critical, because if you think about you being in my position and you can't fail, there can be no failures. There can be no, I'm sorry, I was late, or my car broke down, or, I didn't make it here because, doesn't matter. And
okay, but Ricky, what about this part? Tell them this part. The part about where they fly the staircase on a different plane. You know how you said the stairs come on a different plane and the plane was going in a different direction?
Right.
Secret stuff. We want the secret stuff about the Secret Service.
Well, I can't mention the number of cars and all that, but everything that we use in an assignment, and again, I'm retired and long gone, but everything that we use in an assignment is flown in. The Secret Service themselves take that in, working with the Air Force and other military agencies. We bring these things in, the stairs, the cars, everything that he would touch, we bring that stuff in. And so we have to, because we can't rely on any place to provide those kind of items for us. So, we make sure that whatever the president needs, we're bringing it in. And the stories behind doing that, listen, we talk about events, we talk about events, like take the inauguration, take any of the inaugurations, any of them, they're all different. But what's unique about the inaugurations is that the media will only show you that 2-3 hours of an event when it happens. It takes months of preparation and getting ready for for an inauguration before it actually happens, and it comes off safely. The screening process, the trust, the reliability that we have on each other, and I cannot ignore the fact that everybody who is working in that environment with us, we trust. We have to trust. We have to rely on. We have to trust. So I say to anyone, if you're thinking about joining an agency like that, you have to check yourself, because when you go in, they're going to rely on you to be completely trustworthy and reliable. And so those stories are awesome stories, but you have to be totally trustworthy and reliable.
Hey, Ricky, I want to ask you a question. When I tell you I have leaned all the way in to this conversation, just hearing you talking about all of the different presidents. And so I've always been curious. I know it's a show that comes on and they talk about Quantico. Okay, so do you have any experience there? What is Quantico? Is that part of training that Secret Service people have to go through? And how long do you have to go through training before you're selected?
Well, it's funny you say that, because a lot of our training programs since I've left have changed. But back then you're looking at about 8 to 10 weeks of initial training, and then you move to, rather than Quantico, we have another area called Beltsville. All right. So the Secret Service uses their own training academy in Maryland. It's called Beltsville Training Academy, and that academy is hidden but it is a wonderful place where leadership is the forefront, and you know what you have to go through is basically depending on yourself, your abilities, and knowing that you cannot be selfish and your whole job, because the mission will fail if you don't back your next man, the next person, the next woman. If you're not there to put yourself on the line to save the next person, then the whole mission will fail. It's all about teamwork. It's all about no one person can do this by themselves. Everybody has to be trained to the maximum. They go through everything from, you know, weapons detections to explosive training to you name it, they do it all. And they are the best at doing it. K9, they have dogs. They train with dogs. We train running. We train, physical fitness. We train driving. The driving exercises are incredible because you have to be able to get the president from where he's going to where he's been. So so that training is never ending. It's not as if, I passed. Because next month you may not pass. Next month you may not pass.
Okay, so tell me this. Yeah, I know you can only tell us what you can tell us. But when you talk about the cars and the motorcades coming through the city, it just seems like there's so much preparation. Everything stops when a president hits your city. I mean, everything stops.
Right.
How do you guys coordinate? How do you stop New York City when the president's going through New York City? How do you stop, LA when the president's driving through? How do they stop these motor cars? And what is it about these cars? I mean, do they make new cars every year, or do they just make these super duper 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 cars? I mean, what's the answer to those?
Yeah, their cars are pretty much made per administration. They usually upgrade the cars or give them a different look based on that particular president coming in. And but the actual cars themselves are incredible. I mean, it's just, I can't go into details about the cars itself, but the one that President Obama used was called the Beast, the actual Beast, and it looked like it looked like a beast because it was a cross between a truck and a car. You couldn't tell what it was. It was real tall, big, and mean and fast. But those agents driving the cars, you imagine the pressure on them when you can't make the wrong turn. You can't have an accident. You got to drive 24/7 all day, and you have to be as alert as you ever been the first day. And then when things happen, if there's a shooting or if there's a threat, and that particular president has to be moved, that's when your training has to be automatic. So I say to anyone going into that type of life, you train like you fight. And you fight like you train. So if your training is weak, when the time happens, you're going to be weak. So you have to train hard in anything in life, so that when the time comes, you're not trying to remember what you learned in training. It is automatic. It is automatic. Yeah. So, moving those cars around, it is a process, Gloria. It is definitely a process. And everyone is given their positions, and you have to maintain your position. What's funny about shutting things down, you mentioned about shutting things down. I was in New York many times. I've done the United Nations travel to New York. To New York, maybe 25 years of it. Just traveling there, and worked every facet of it. And what's funny about New York is that even though it's one of the busiest cities in the world, it flows well. It flows well. And the NYPD has to be one of the best police departments in the world to ensure that traffic keeps flowing. They're able to block off enough space for us to move. And keep in mind, when we're there, it's not just our president. We're there with every country in the world, right, who is a part of the UN, moving at the same time, and the Secret Service is covering every single movement. So the coordination has to be unique. The communication, think about communications. We talk about our families, we talk about our friends. When there's an event or catastrophe, what's the first thing that we rely on? Can we find our family? Can we communicate with them? And we even ourselves have a difficult time doing that because we rely strictly on our phones. But
Right.
you imagine having that many presidents in one area, and you can't afford to have a break in communications. You can't afford to be crossing each other and let's have problems. There has to be a lot of talking going on and somebody making that work up top. Yes.
Ricky, I got a question, Ricky. I got a question because
what's your question there, Sabrina?
A couple of questions. One, you guys always look so good. Y'all looking at us, we're looking at you.
Well, thank you.
The dark shades on.
Right.
Talk about image, because when I tell you the Secret Service always looks amazing. Okay, that's number one. Talk about that kind of training. And then, was that Obama's administration when we had so many problems with the Secret Service when they were getting parties?
I thought she was breaking up.
Hanging out with the girls.
Yeah. I'm breaking up. You can't hear you. Talk about how much trouble that Secret Service does. Okay. Were you on that team?
No. Of course not. I'm still living. I'm still living. First of all, your first question was breaking up a little. I think I heard it correct. You said to talk about the Obama administration. Was that it?
The image. Why do they look so good? Why does
the image? Okay, I'm sorry, I missed that first part. Yeah, the image. Well, the image is the first impression is the best impression, because that's how they live. They will never let each other go out. One agent, one officer, none of us will let each other walk out the door looking in a way that would disgrace the Secret Service. We check each other. And trust me, they'll tell you, listen, are you wearing those shoes? So, listen, yeah, we're funny like that. We're funny like that. Yeah. So it's a part of the first look is the best look impression. The second thing is, when you look at, that entire incident that happened back then, of course, there's a lot of reasons why you can't go into detail behind that, because there's still people's lives involved in that. And I wouldn't ever want to say anything that would disrupt somebody's family life. But I would say this, I've never been in trouble. You know what? I've never made a decision. Listen, I said earlier, you have to make the right decision. I don't decide on what everybody else do. I can tell you now that Ricky Mason is not going to make that decision. And when I see trouble, I'm smart enough to walk away from it or to leave it alone and help guide others away from it. So that was a very unfortunate incident. But at the same time, you know what? It was probably something that had to happen, because anytime there's a negative, you can get a positive from it. Because how many people now are being saved because of that?
Right.
Who have learned from that incident. Just because we don't hear about things, that doesn't mean it's not happening. Listen, let's just take, women's rights. If just because you didn't back in those days didn't see it happening, doesn't mean it wasn't happening. So when you see all the negative public pressure from those things, I take it as a positive. And Gloria knows what I mean by a positive. Gloria has called me many times and say, God, did you see this? I said, yeah, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. And we won't go down that road, Gloria. Yeah, but I just thought that was a good thing, because I see things in a totally different light, because the way we're trained to look at the positive and the negative and draw a conclusion in the middle, because there's always a middle ground. There's always that middle ground. And you don't let yourself be swayed one way or another, because if we do, the wrong person could get hurt or taken out. So we try to, our training keeps us in the middle of everything. So nothing really excites us. I'm sorry.
I was going to ask you a question, and this is such a great conversation So thank you for, just giving us all of this great information. So my question is, if there's someone listening and wanting to become a Secret Service individual, do they have to do a stint in the military or when they're in college? So how does that work? If somebody has an interest in being a part of the Secret Service, what would they have to do?
Well, it all depends on what you want to do because they have so many different career fields. And but if you want to be in protection, if you want to be in investigation, if you want to be a police officer, if you want to be a specialist in certain fields, like we have cyber engineers, we have scientists, we have all kinds of people who are involved in the Secret Service. And those people, again, aren't seen. They're kind of they're quietly in the background running to keep the world safe. They're back there. If you think about it, if you look at Mission Impossible, you see Tom Cruise doing his thing, but he can't do anything without that van and the people supporting him. So those are the positions that are even more stringent than the actual special agents position, because you have, we have former Navy SEALs, we have Delta Force members, we have Special Forces members who are, working with us. At the same time, we have people who graduated from high school and college. And those fields are not in protection, but they are different fields that people can go into. But preferably, you want to have a degree. You want to already have some experience in some discipline, at least 4 years in a discipline, because you have to at least show that you're showing up for work. The reason the military is such a hot topic is because the military teaches you that self-discipline. That's one thing that you really want to walk in with. The military forces self-discipline on you. And I have to say self-discipline, not just discipline, it's self-discipline. How much can you take before you break? Exactly enough.
I love that.
How much can you take before you break?
And they test that, and they make sure that you can take that into your next life. And I say that, and I say that because it's important. Because not only did I join the military, but my son, he joined in the Navy. My daughter is still in the Navy, and I wanted them to get that experience because whatever they do in life beyond that point, they have the tools, they have the knowledge, and now it just boils down to your decisions. Your decisions to
Ricky.
For that. So when I go back and look at these steps, I would say to anyone thinking about joining the Secret Service to do it. They're a small agency. They're a very small group of people, but I would do it again and again and again, over and again, because
hey, Ricky, Caterina has a question.
I have a question. I am, of all the girlfriends, I'm the political science major. Like, I have been into this like my whole life. Like, I got a degree, okay? So I want to know, I know there are things, the Secret Service lasts throughout all the administration. So I know there are things that are, in terms of protecting the president, the position of the president, that is probably the same all the time. But what are the differences from one presidency to the next? Like, what is the change? What's the shift?
It's mostly, it's mostly.
I was just going to say, and what happens when there's kids involved too? I just wanted to fit that in too, when there's kids.
Well, that's the only difference, is that our protection pretty much doesn't change very much because we are always at the highest level. What changes is the dynamic, how diverse and how large it is. Because if you have, let's just say that there's a president who have all daughters. So you want to change the look of the Secret Service to give them a comfortability of being with the Secret Service. So you want agents who are very comfortable in that environment. You want them to understand what it takes to be with a young teenager. So that, because they're going to have fun, they want to be outgoing, and they want to be able to to enjoy themselves as a kid. But yet we have to protect them. So the Secret Service is very diverse in that matter because they have to be able to adjust to the climate of the person they're protecting. If you have a son of a president who plays football and who spends a lot of times in a gym all the time, and so maybe you want to put him with other agents who work out a lot. You know, so you know you listen. Take listen, President Bush for example, huge bike rider, a phenomenal bike rider, very fast, a good runner. You simply don't want to be on that detail if you cannot run. If it's so you want to surround him with runners, people who love running. So they have a very unique setup. So we adjust to their culture. We adjust to the culture of the president. That's our job.
So Ricky,
But
before
we
we
are
go,
not.
can you
We're not political. We're apolitical. We stay right down the middle. We don't let the personalities of the presidents change. It's always. I'm telling you, it is right down the middle. Yeah.
So Ricky, before we go, can you tell us the number of the presidents that you had to cover? Who are the names of the presidents that you covered?
So I started with President Reagan, and I went all the way through with President Bush, of course, Bush Senior, and then I went, and then from there on, we're looking at President Clinton, his 2 terms. We're looking at President Bush again, and then we're looking at President Obama, and then I retired at the end of his 2nd term. So, and lucky enough, and I was very happy. I was very happy to have him invite us to the Oval Office. So we got invited back to for him to retire me. So that was great.
Yeah, and he came to your retirement. So that was pretty awesome, you guys. We had so much fun, Ricky. Thank you for giving us the inside scoop on something that's really secret that so many people want to know about. So excited. Welcome.
We have to do it again.
Force of friendship. Thank you so much, you guys. We're going to be back here Monday from 6 to 7 p.m. This is Tuesday. We're going to be back Tuesday. We'll be back Tuesday through Friday next week, 9:10 a.m. The Superstation. We got
glad
issues.
to join you anytime.
We got issues, and we're so glad. Thank you so much. Bye-bye, you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Happy 4th of July.
Thank you. Anytime. Pleasure.
Okay. Ricky, thank you so much. We're so appreciative. Facebook, thank you so much, Facebook. We're so glad. Ricky, you were awesome. We'll be back on Tuesday, not Monday. Not Monday. We'll be here Tuesday. You guys have a fabulous 4th of July. Ricky, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ricky.